afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Propagandacast with me, your host, Imperial Dane, Master of Propaganda, Hero of the Reich, Defender of the Fatherland. We're off here to an exciting 1 vs 1 on Holotny Farmer here between Jove, fighting for the Wehrmacht for the Reich for the 3rd SS Panzerdivision Totenkopf. Going up, there's a CUC Hama, fighting here for the Soviet Union, for the glory of Comrade Stalin. And the 7th Rifle Corps, tasked with holding this area no matter the cost. The penalties of failure will be harsh for Hama if even one fascist breaks through. Jove here, by the way, going straight from mechanized assault right off the bat. A bit rarer to see that. Also a bit rare to see assault gunners being used early on even at all, but I'm increasingly seeing some Wehrmacht players actually beginning to see, well, use them a bit more. Hama, on the other hand, has got shock rifle, got motor and urban defense, an interesting mix there of doctrines and bulletins, while we've got infantry, guardsmen and Katyusha bulletins. That's also an interesting mix there compared to Jove, who's all about that infantry. Got conscripts down the way for Hama, a mix of guns, assault guns here for Jove. Assault guns, of course, heading southwards, and where this area is a bit more close together, we'll then have a chance of getting close and doing some serious damage. German infantry units were on a overall not that heavily equipped with submachine guns, so generally only handed out to squad leaders as such, maybe a commanding officer, but generally they would rarely equip entire units. I mean, it would happen without more being, on a base or situation to situation basis, depending on, what the situation actually required. There was some not, official organisation. The closest you had to that was basically some Fultz Grenadier units which couldn't get assault rifles when they were supposed to have. In some cases were equipped in largely with submachine guns, but otherwise it was not really a German thing, it was more of an American or Russian, of course, so it's really did it on large scale. In fact, as the war increased, the Soviets largely relied on just submachine guns. Right there. And the assault guns in a lot of trouble. 2 counter squads here, basically, I mean, this is not going to be engagement. Jove will win, he will just waste manpower, no matter how much he believes fervently in final victory for the Reich. And there we go, he actually pulls back, not wasting any troops on that one. Got Bartwire going in, lots of Bartwire in fact. Basically showing the opponent can't well make any easy movements or even use cover. Nicely done there, going to do this moving in the north. We've got the 2nd Red Squad here driving. Might see some engagement right here. So far though, Hama is gaining a nice chunk of the map. We've got a 4th counter squad there on the way. Once more, a bit of trouble here for Jove to gain a bit of traction. So far, he's only really got in the north. We've got some good pioneers sneak about here though. We've got Molotovs going off here, lighting the wood on fire, creating a nice little bonfire maybe. Or maybe not. Instead they run off like a pair of hooligans who just committed a bit of vandalism, running them away before old Mr. Hitler comes and yells at them. Assault gunners joining in Grenadiers down south, heading down there to deal with the engineers. Much easier targets than any conscript squad. MG42 heading in towards maybe here, I imagine, so we've got the cut off and the fuel. Would certainly make more sense. Assault gunners here, supported by the gunners, moving against the engineers. Engineers are quick to retreat here, realising they have been overwhelmed by the Wehrmacht. Tactically, anyways. Pioneers a bit of trouble, even as running out there, cutting off territory. Needs to cut off, going to the victory point there. And so far, we see here Hama maintaining a rather aggressive stance here versus Jove, who's got a nice mix of units there. 2 Grenadiers, 1 assault grenade, 1 MG42. Engineers falling back. Pioneers versus conscripts, and there go conscripts in the building, hitting up, denying it to the Grenadier. Pretty much all meaning that Hama will have the advantage here unless Jove can bring in a heavier weaponry, and he can't. Check up there from Jove. Pioneers are forced to run a gauntlet of angry Bolsheviks. We've got the infantry basically coming around here, but moves ahead him, realising he's not going to have any luck there. Of course, at the same time, he does put him more at risk of being flanked. Conscript change lay down sandbags, but quickly disrupted. They might be able to spot the MG42, telling Hama here where it is, and of course flanking from the south. He's not careful that it's Jove. Shootout here. Meanwhile, though, Hama continues his disruptive play, though he is being forced to head south as we got Jove moving in. We've got a bit of a cheeky trick here, basically using unfinished sandbags to basically sort of block off access to cover.
Our territory is falling into enemy hands.
He could rightfully being seen as a bit of a dick move by some. Anyways, MG42 pushed away, Grenadiers all being pushed away. tank up has been done now by Jove. Would like to make a nice company. Could of course follow up then. He's going to be far up from getting a mechanized assault group anyways. Overall losing territory around. We've got assault here versus engineers. MP40 turning into the soft squish engineers. Taking no heavy losses here in the process, and ultimately are forced away the flamethrower here, proving quite potent as always. Point there being secured. Point 2 as well. Sandbags will of course be laid down once more by Hama, so we'll try and hope the territory is a bit better here versus any German counterattacks from Joe's side here. Like to make a nice company is up. We could see a scout car, we could see a half track. Both could work out. The scout car of course would offer him sort of more mobile firepower. The half track would allow him on the other hand to get troops better in position, for example allowed to get their assault grenadiers close to enemy infantry without taking shots. And he could for example rush them up to the conscripts, pop out, and then the assault grenadiers will make short work of the conscripts, forcing them away. So that could very well also be an option there for Joe, but he goes for the 2-2-1, the leichte punchy Speerwagen. Grenadiers heading from the south here. Two engineers, 4 conscripts there so far for Hama. No sign of building upwards for any tech. Engineers are not going to last long, though we got more engineers bringing in to reinforce. Probably not the most impressive reinforcements. Quickly, Comler, the cavalry has. Oh shit, it's just one of us. We've got the 2-2-1 ring in here, so we've got a large assault here. Joe just rushing the building, he's had enough of it, he's about to evict those bloody tenants. With flamethrower, submachine gun, and machine gun fire there. Counters they're definitely going to get out of there before they end up as very dead meat. But there we go, successful push here. M40 to the cover here. Will he push up north to sort of eject the Russians from there, or will he try and head south, sort of try and save what territory he already has there? We've got additional grenadiers here from Joe. I'm not entirely sure I agree with that. I mean, he's got a like to make a nice company. I would rather say should go for some panzer grenadiers since they do offer a lot more firepower versus conscripts. And in particular, as they gain veterans, they become really potent and absolutely not to be messed with. Looks like in this case he's going for additional grenadiers. I mean, that can work. And also, considering the map which he got assault grenadiers for, panzer grenadiers would also work nicely. Hell, he could get more assault grenadiers instead. But there you go. We got shock rifle there from Hama, going to shock his way through this field of battle with the shock troopers. Logging their PVH-41s though by 1944-45. They were increasingly being replaced with submachine guns with shorter magazines, since the drum magazine, while of course having the nice effect of carrying a lot of ammo, rather had some defects which actually made it less reliable. So they shifted to stick magazines, while obviously not quite as hefty in ammunition capacity, were less likely to mess up. Points there being secured though, getting back to the north here. Joe striking back with the fury of 1,000 suns, or maybe 2. So heading northwards here, the barbed wire is still holding. No attempt here by Hama in dealing with that. But of course with no barbed wire cutters, that's obviously not going to work. Shock is moving ahead here. Shock troopers, conscripts pushing here, trying to gain back this position by gets it. Of course they can't charge across without any ideas. Plus the 2-2-2 can easily threaten to shatter a few purposes with its shoulder cannon around him. He's not careful. Assault was pushed back. Quick assault there by the conscripts. Reminded them to be elsewhere. You got support them coming in, going up there for Hama. It looks like the Russians here forced to fall back in the centre. They could not break Joe's will, or position for that matter. Oh dear, 2 countries versus the Pioneers. MD42 by the way has not really moved forward much to help. Pioneers rushed off the field. Quick motor there, forced the gunners to fall back still. Country's not set in the best position either, out in the bloody open. You got no sign of takedown from Jove so far. Of course, of course, he's too busy spending all that manpower and all the troops he's got. But of course, it could also mean he's playing for Scooby, which would do the dull, and would certainly be a bit of a loss on the opportunity to sort of really hit his opponent with heavier stuff. Points down there secured. Nothing so far from the support bomb company here from Hama. I mean, he could get some mortars to help bombard. Maximus, I think, would work versus an infantry, and of course a field gun. But of course, as always, work versus a scout can't. Note here, though, he's actually making use of infantry awareness. That's actually a pretty neat ability. I mean, he does basically on the minimap tell you where the opponent's infantry is in a certain radius around the vehicle using it. It also means you can, for example, move your scout carrier ahead without saying getting ambushed by some Yuri with an anti-tank grenade, which of course might increase the survivability to your scout car. Oh, they're not entirely sure what Joe did there or what Dieter did. Dieter, I said forwards, not backwards, you idiot. Ah, scheiße, I keep messing those two up. Are you 3 years old? 9? Don't think so. Comes there being pushed away though. Got a larger push in there. They're going to need some bit of trouble. Got Panics. Oh, there we go, moving in. Prepare the 2-2-2 before setting up here. But setting up in the wrong direction. It's utter chaos. Panic has gripped Jove's men. Or more likely, Jove's misclicking. But of course, the other thing sounds more dramatic, so that's what we're going with. Panic has gripped them, but they finally sort of get it together after Jove has shouted several nasty things at them. And remind them what will happen to people who don't set up in the right direction. There you go, Crunch can stop there, 2-2-2 bombarding. 2 centimeters auto cannon tearing into them. Like bullets into watermelons.
Our opponents are seizing a sector.
Guinea's not doing too well there. Fuel has been cut off once more again, even as Hama is projecting all of his force in the north though. Jove is taking advantage of the course track down south. I mean, that's always a good thing to do. I mean, if your opponent is actually focused on one part of the map, it never hurts to sneak off some fellows to the other part of the map, sort of like some takeaway territory there. I mean, that's of course the one thing you want to keep in mind. I mean, the attention span of your opponent is actually a vital resource as much as anything else. Just like, for example, I'm sure there might not be a bar here that says how much attention your opponent is paying. If you can figure it out, you can actually do a lot of damage to him and actually frustrate him quite a bit. Pack 40 on the way here for Jove though. No sign of us over there from Hama. Most of those going to be falling back. Need to be careful, they're bloody close to a mine. At the same time, they're pushing in for the cop point, and of course now Hama is sort of more closer to his, of course he can sort of respond better. But of course, even as that happens, Jove pushes forward from the north. 40 almost down there, the Panzerabwehrkanone 40. Biggest anti-tank gun essentially in that sort of class that can move about with infantry, though generally they were still moved around with trucks and tractors, but still it could be moved around reasonably easily by infantry due to the fact that the Germans had done some things to sort of make it as light as possible. For example, the gun shield was not one thick plate of metal, it was actually two, well, very thin sheets of metal sort of put together with a bit of spacing, that way you're actually deflecting most shots. Little fun fact there. And a little trick there by the Germans. Constantly get this into this opening, this opening bit of trouble there. I mean, he could try and pop some assault grenades here. It looks like Jove just not up for that one. Jove's up against a 2-2-2. Finding some assault. Molotov on the assault grenades coming back here, but still Jove is more grenades pushing forward. Grenades a bit of trouble, punch up there. And a grenade there trying to catch either pioneers of the 2-2, or most likely both, which, by the way, 2-2 almost veteran defeat. Losing this south, and will he go for the Stoogie? He does. At the same time, though, Hama is going for the tank battalion command. And he's actually got the resource to meet to get a T-34 76, so he should actually be able to threaten the Sturmgeschütz ausführen here a lot more than usual. Up north, concept sent away. Concept falling back here as the Sturmgeschütz moves ahead. Got a T-34 76 on the way, and fun fact about the Stoogie, but about 1944-45, most of them would have been part of training units and the likes. Not really any frontline units would have happened. They've basically only been sent forward, so there was absolutely nothing else was in there. Little fun fact there. Little fun fact. MG holding up there. Oh, good lord. That was quite the shot there. Blowing them up for the door. Alright, guys, I think it's boom. Oh no, everybody is dead. Why does this keep happening to me? It's just like my 7th birthday. Meanwhile, mine are going off there, killing numerous grenadiers. Got a great push here from Hama down through the south. Almost ready for the end again, using infantry awareness quite aggressively. I'm quite liking that. Quite like that. I mean, it really does give him sort of an intelligence advantage if you use it correctly. But again, I mean, it's pretty sort of keep it in mind. I mean, hell, I won't say I'm one that's a master in using it either, but that's not to say it's useless. But it's very, very rarely used, and certainly, I mean, to see it used that actively, I mean, I don't think I've seen that in a year, so, at least. There we go, we've got the T-10-476 ramming for Hama, and again, some more serious armor for him here. Pack 40 operating here nearby. You could easily follow up with a T-70 now, or a half-tank if you want to, try and aim for another T-34. Pioneer's going for the cop on there, knocked down there by Jove. Engineers slowly advancing there, taking losses. We've got several mines here by the way from Hama. Pioneers pushed away their shock troopers, though taking minor losses. Not looking too good. You got the Indy 40 here basically not moving forwards then. And interesting enough, he's not really, for example, occupying this building, actually a good commanding presence of the area. 40s to E, 2 to 2, Grenadiers will machine gun coming in the centre, now he's bringing his T-34 into all of this. And there he goes, first shot fired, penetrating the T-34, so his second shot goes through as well. Unsurprisingly now, T-34-76 did not have a lot of armour. And sure, while it was sloped, there's one thing to keep in mind about sloped armour, it only works so well. I mean, at a certain point, sloped armour basically, if the caliber of the shot is much bigger, then it doesn't really confer much of an advantage. So, little fun fact there. Stuggy rushing forward, straight to line up over the field gun. That was a bit risky there by Jove and a bit silly. If anything, he could actually risk it being knocked out here. Almost got it here though. Gains veterans one though. Trail kills, then servers up to right. T-34-76 flanking in. Hack 40 here. Try and get it, but probably won't. If that needs to get out there, he's going to take a hit there. Got a nice hit on the Grenadier though. Almost wipes the entire squad. Grenadier flanking in the country. Force field gun, then moving up. Field gun, by the way, is low on health and numbers. Should be pulled back, I think, from reinforcement. Or he should merge some conscript before hanging back with them. Northern points there. Joe got a nice chunk of the map. Looks like in this stage he's just playing for a tiger. Dull, but there you go. Counters need to fall back. Got soldiers moving about here eventually too. So the hammering gun max there. So far. Getting the conscript standing in the fire, not the best of the year either. Still doing some damage to the conscript now. Might win at least versus them, and of course the other comes to the mine, they ultimately will probably be forced away.
Scout car awaiting orders.
2-2 secures the north for the time being. T-34-76 almost combat ready. Is Hama going to play for some heavy armor as well, in which case he himself might want to consider giving up a fuel cache at the very least, sort of supported. That's some very aggressive play so far from both sides, sort of pushing at sides, flanks, never sort of really a seriously dull moment. As either side sort of try to figure out where the other player is and where he's weak, and sort of try to strike him there with a great deal of force. Closing ahead, light machine guns galore. Sturmgeschütz coming up to support as well. Counter Mac wants to get to the front back here before they get turned into a fine paste. And there you go, rather unfortunate retreat path here for Hama. And there you go, veterans feed by the way. Oh, counters their white and retreat. Pioneers here taking minor losses. Grenadiers here took some heavy losses from the mine there. Joe is being bled out. He's actually, I think, added more Grenadiers. He's got 3 Grenadiers, 4 in fact, plus Assault Grenadiers. No Panzer Grenadiers at all. Now that I do feel is a bit of a mistake and, you know, a bit dull as well, but obviously what I think is interesting might not like playing to this, but still. I still think that's a bit much then. He could of course be using it other things like mortars or, well, Panzer Grenadiers, which could also in case, you know, get upgraded with Panzers if he needs it. The Sharks are dealing with the Grenadier, quickly running them off the field of battle. Jove, they're very close to the Tiger, just one more command point, a bit of manpower there. He can strike fear into the enemies of the fatherland. It is here time though for the mid-game analysis. Current situation is, map is sort of swinging back closely in favour of either side right now. It's slightly in the favour here of Jove in terms of territory. Victory points wise, he's got most of the points, but point wise, you know, that one really always bothers me. I mean, we see a slight advantage to Hama. Unit wise, I mean, it's Jove that's got the advantage, of course, against Sunad Tiger. I mean, Hama, though, is close to the eyes too. He's got a T-34-76 on the field. On the other hand, Jove's got the Stugi, which is doing quite a bit of damage, plus the Scout car. And so far, Jove's not having much luck, sort of catching them with his T-34 field gun. Of course, at the same time, he's not, you know, doing what some players might do with CoH2 to try to using it as a battering ram and push through the centre. He's sort of playing around with it, trying to catch Jove off guard, and so gets some good kills in there, which is good. So he's making pretty good use of the T-34-76 so far. As you can, anyways. Of course, sort of pressuring here and there, which is overall doing him reasonably well here, Mr. Hama. So what could Hama sort of further do? I mean, he could again consider fuel cache to help speed up, but then again, he might just sort of, you know, save up the resources because he'll probably end up with having both manpower and fuel then right at the same time, ready to sort of call it an IS-2. More mines though would benefit him. He's got quite a bit of munitions, so more mines or some demo charges in the right places would do a lot to maybe sort of, you know, even the score a bit by, say, wiping some few unfortunate units there under Jove's command. Otherwise, his objective should always try to get the Stuggy and the Scout cans. That way, maybe isolate any future Tiger that's around, because obviously Jove is going to get a Tiger. So that is one thing to consider for Jove. I mean, you know, a part of me really would like to see him tag up, maybe get some fuel casters. I mean, sure, you can rely on Tiger, but always, you know, it always involves a large risk, because if your opponent plays well or you make a mistake, you're going to be in a very difficult spot to, you know, recover from. That's really one of the major issues with, you know, playing for Tigers. You can end yourself in a situation where you can have a very hard time recovering, because you've got no cheaper armor to really fill the gap in between. And of course, you need then to research the infrastructure for that. And that, of course, can leave a lot of armor players in the trouble to sort of play for that. So, I mean, taking up and getting something else would help him quite a bit, I think, in the longer term. Otherwise, mines from Jove would be a good idea as well. And some Panzer Grenadier, I think, would also be a good choice to support his troops as well, probably a bit more firepower. Maybe another MD-42, some mortars could also do quite good. You maybe creating a better control zone around certain spots, like, for example, the centre, but also the northern points here. Would, I think, be a pretty good choice there for Jove. Anyways, let's head back here to the fight and see what happens. Assault grenades there, locked up plenty. Straight to the shock troopers there. Grenade off. T-34 there with damage. Enemy like Pack 4 moving up. So they're taking heavy damage with the T-34 and the engineers. But there you go, Pack 40 opening up the turn. And the 222 charges in. Go heavily damaged. Perhaps not the wisest. Again, we see infantry anything utilised always constantly. An eye on constantly there by Joe. I mean, it's certainly cheap enough to let it work. But it is super rare to actually see it happen.
The enemy is attempting to steal our sector.
Awaiting command.
T-54 they're rolling back, almost mentioned one. Joe very close to the Tiger. Counter time straight here and it. Rather risky, rather risky. Field gun needs to fall back. Gun is flanking already. Hama himself also close to an IS-2 himself. And there we go. Joe just moments away from the Tiger. The Tiger.
Our opponents are seizing a sector.
Multiple mine attack force. There we go into the mine. No, just barely dodges it. You should move over here and you should basically try to guide the grenadiers into the mine if possible. No, looks like here Hama falls back. Tiger has been mobilized here. And there you go, they do hit the mine, almost wiping the entire unit in the process.
Enemy forces are securing our
There you go,
territory.
Tiger mobilized. From an SS Schwerer Panzerabteilung. Assault is going to bring ahead there if Tiger would like support. So this is versus T-3476, gets over damage engine there, needs to fall back, Field gun needs to get out there as well. Assault gun is efficiency free, that's definitely helpful for them. Increasing their lethality much more. Might get the field gun there, turned against Hama, even if Hama's not careful. Church needs to be abandoned here as German firepower simply overwhelms. And now things begin to look more dangerous here for Hama. He's beginning to really lose territory, of course. Now he's got a nice 2, but still, his opponent has a bit more than him. In particular, he's also got a Pack 40, whereas Hama's got a T-34, some 66, so essentially support the IS-2. And he's now losing his cut-off point as well. Here we've got the 222 moving ahead again. No infantry awareness, basically being short. He's not running into some angry Russians with an anti-tank grenade and a grudge. Much as it comes to their wipe, the assault are getting closer to getting wiped out. One more shot there from the 122mm gun. Tiger fires, stuns, but the assault gunners are nonetheless wiped out here. Juice almost ready. Tiger stuns the IS-2. The anti-tank grenade goes off, fails to damage the engine. Stun there on the IS-2 as well. Pack 40 fires. IS-2 falls back for the time being. Shock troops moving northwards there. 3 take points then for the glory of the Soviet Union. T-34 ready once more. Could try and strike south here, try and catch the scout car, maybe deal with some troops down there. Engineers almost wiped here by the Tigers. They take them with the gun. We're trying to further action here from Hama at the moment.
Our MG42 has arrived.
It's certainly getting a bit tense here. At least for Hama now that Joe sort of managed to push forward quite aggressively.
Leichter Panzerschmähwagen reporting.
T-34 moving northwards. High explosives around their midst, machine guns firing. Almost got the grenadiers there. And again, infantry awareness on the 222. It's practically magical. No, not really, but you get the point. Comes the tanks lost, got the IS-2 here moving ahead. There you go, good hit on it, good hit on the 222. We could see wreck, there we go. Just get tear through it like scissors through paper. 9 kills on the T-34-6, IS-2 falls back here. This looks like might try to go for the cut-off point there again.
Grenadiers ready.
Joe certainly does not give up there in that, but of course going to into the IS-2. Nasty hit there, wipes half the squad. The other one can still carry themselves back to the base though, and so they do. Well, Heinz does it. Jurgen did not make it. Attacking again, we've got stuns again the IS-2 there. Good job, so he needs a thing to penetrate, but there goes second shot though, follows up. Then the Tiger gets stunned by the IS-2. IS-2 stunned again, that is rather rare to be honest. You should use target weak point, I think, on the Stugi to try and have a bit of chance of stunning the IS-2 in return. IS-2 in fact falling back. Up north here, MG42 Pioneers falls back the engineers, T-34 down here. Guns securing the point. Tiger will receive repairs, obviously the IS-2 will need it as well, in fact more direly. Both of them actually close to Veteran 2-1. IS-2 though closer than the Tiger. There's a lot of trouble with the T-34-6, almost Veteran 2-1, or 2 by the way. Almost get to wipe that, almost. Can he do it? Can he do it? For the motherland? Socialism? He's heading northwards there. IS-2 halfway repaired. Engineers working as fast as they can. And there we go, Tiger fixed.
Conscripts here.
Certainly still looking rough here for Hama. Tajo's not really in his advantage. Joe can soon call in another Tiger. Things are certainly looking a bit dangerous here for Hama. Hama though still has the T-34-6, which does give him in some regards a bit of an armoured advantage if he play correctly, consider the way that Joe so far has actually basically formed his armour here into one unit here in the centre. In a sense of a bit of a reserve, but at the same time also tying it down essentially. Almost 53 then the T-34-6 took a hit there from the Pack 40. Two moves out here into the centre. Pioneer's right next to a Telemite. There we go. Blows up but doesn't actually harm anyone of the unit. That's surprisingly bloody lucky. Pack 40 here though. Might want to turn the gun there on it. Pack 45 is point blank. Target weak point off as well. Can he get it? T-34-6 is moving up. Needs to be careful there. And there we go. Telemine goes off, knocking out the Pack 40 entirely. Stugidel flanks the IS-2, gains Veteran 2, stuns it with target weak point. IS-2 then at top, T-34-6 needs to move to support, needs to clear out the Stugi, and the IS-2 just needs to get out of there. Almost for T-50 on the Stormgear shots. Time to deal with that one instead. T-34-6 opening up as well. Stugi almost knocked out here. Can he get it? Can he get it? Probably, maybe. Down another target arriving for Joe. T-34-6 moving on to deal with the Stugi. Tiger almost knocked out here as well. Close to... not as close as the IS-2 is to Veteran 2. And there goes Stugi knocked out. We've got two Tigers here on the field now for Joe. There's one damaged T-34-6 Veteran 2 and one damaged IS-2 almost Veteran 2. We'll get the Veteran 2, of course, that will help them increased range and accuracy, and a faster turret rotation as well. Tiger falling back there for desperately needed repairs. Things are certainly looking a bit rough here for both sides. With 2 Tigers on the field here, things might look a bit better here for Jove. Demo charge there, barely avoids getting spotted and shot at while just finishing it. That could have been rather tragic there for the engineers. It certainly might have actually hurt Hama, tragically so, because he'd be lacking then 1 engineer unit, which would be veteran, to sort of fix up his armour. And counting, I mean, both his tanks are in dire need of repairs. So where did you get all this blood from, Dimitri? That's ours blood. In particular, it's mostly the radio man's blood and the driver's blood. We had to get 2 new drivers just in this battle. It's absolute crazy. Well, it's actually below average. Most of the time I have to replace 4 drivers during a battle. Tiger moving ahead there.
Pioneers ready for assignment.
And there you go, good prioritization. It goes for the IS-2 first. Then you can also, of course, fix up the T-3476 afterwards. And ultimately, of course, depends on your priority. But overall, just focusing on one time is overall always just a better choice, I'd say, because then you can faster have 1 tank ready. And of course, this means he wants to face off against the Tigers, obviously much faster. If he'd gone for the T-3476, he can sort of think, you know, he wants to avoid the Tigers and just do as much damage to the rest of the troops. But with the IS-2, he clearly sort of decides, you know, the Tigers are the biggest threats, and the things that can most threaten the Tiger right now is the IS-2 I've got. So, sharp deduction there from Hama. We of course have to see if it actually sort of pays off. What with 2 Tigers almost ready here for Jove and to assert SS Totenkopf. IS-2 then moves ahead. But this time also got constant moving in there, Duska tearing into them. Wipes the Tiger and they just got in retreat. Can't be lost right there for the Wehrmacht. As they take further loss, we've got the Tiger moving in there from the north. Light machine gun drop by the way. T-34 would be ready to try and cut the grenades, bring up close here. Wiped as well. That might have been a rather poor choice there by Jove. Fear going to opening up support here, the IS-2. Good, good. And up north. And MG42 will put a stop to this. The conscript T-34 could be rushed in to deal with. In fact, looks like it will. And Jove just keeps pouring up grenadiers. No, say, Pack 40s or Panzer Grenadiere. Do feel that's a bit of a miss. Opportunity. And it's getting bombarded. Another unit blown to Kingdom Come. And there you go, the put control of the T-3476. Closing in on Veteran T3. Looks like the Tigers are actually northwards here. Leaving the centre open. Nice 2 strikes in here. Wipes almost another grenadier squad. There we go. Veteran T2. Another light machine gun drop there. Tigers opening up there. That should actually leave the reopen there for the T-3476 move again. Field gun needs to stand quickly. Tiger needs to pop back, but again stunned here by the Tigers. Repeated shots which failed to penetrate. Pioneers into a hit. Field gun needs to fall back. T-3476 moves to support. Looks like he's not. He's just pulling him back. IS-2 there being hunted down by the Tigers. One more bit damage. The other one not quite as much. IS-2 very low in health. Very low in health. Conscript moving ahead with light machine gun. Field gun turns about people to find to the rear of the Tiger. 1 down to half health. T-3476 moving in. IS-2 almost knocked T-3476 flanks in, gets a rear penetrating hit. No anti-tank and it was thrown. Not ready, prepared for the rear there. Almost got 1 Tiger, almost got 1 Tiger. Can he get it? Can he get it? There we go, Tiger knocked out. IS-2 at the same time wrecked. Other Tiger blitzes back here. Jove might have gone a bit trouble. Comfort got Veteran T3 on the T-3476. Veteran T3 at the same time. Pioneers here could try and recruit the field gun, turn it against Hama's tank. Tiger there blitzing away. T-34 trying to stay on the rear. Target then needs to try and also move faster than the turret can turn, which is alright there. Another anti-tank grenade. Pioneers brave the field gun. Fires into the T-3476, knocking it out. 1 conscript though there. Yuri moves ahead there with an anti-tank grenade in his hand and vengeance in his heart, knocking out the Veteran T2 Tiger. All sides have lost all armour. Then of course Hama still got an IS-2 to call in. And Jove at this point has got pretty much nothing to start with except the field gun. Crazy stuff here, crazy stuff right here in the last few moments. Back to lose the field gun as well. The light machine gun there. And there we go, Jove surrenders, a loss for the fatherland. A victory for the Soviet Union and the motherland. A brutal victory here for Hama. It was rather close, but that T-34-76 pretty much clinched it with its flanks. Had he been able to sort of ensure that the field gun would not have fallen into the hands of Joe, he probably could even have it survive there, but there you go. Pretty nasty fight there. No, I think the problem getting down to Jove, just a bit too few men grenadiers, not sort of a mix enough of units, just relying too much on Tigers. That, and he basically got a bit too confident here. Had he perhaps been a bit more calm and not sort of rushed in there for the kill, you know, again, he probably would have fallen into that little trap, but there you go. Hama could have done, I think, with a few fuel cans or supported, maybe more than one field gun at any one time. I do feel that might have been a bit, you know, bold to just rely on one field gun there versus the Germans. I mean, generally you want two to sort of really get any sort of serious effect versus any heavier armour. Otherwise, a few more mines could have done, but overall, very well played here by him. Very good use of his armour. Overall, not just sort of intent on just banging his head into a wall. He sort of kept trying to play around Jove and sort of trying to harass, and that was sort of really nicely done there. And of course, Jove tried to return the favour. Also nicely done there. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed this match. I hope you learned something from it. I hope it gave you ideas for matches, some ideas, some strategies, some tactics. If you didn't want to subscribe, tell your friends, share it with everyone. And that's an order. If not, you know, send in a replay and some feedback in the comment section. This is Imperial Dane, cheers, and thank you all for watching. Bye.